What the fuck is up, guys? My name is Nomo, and in today's video I want to show you how you can create some really cool bass sounds doing the most autistic bullshit ever. Like, just yapping into your mic and then it farting out some usable bass noises. Recently, there was a guy by the name of Wuhao that joined my Discord, and he's a beatboxer. And he really reminded me that I had this idea like a while ago. What if you could just yap into your mic and then process that in a way that creates some very useful bass noises that you can actually put into your tracks or into your music. So I made a rack that is called the Nomo BASSIFIER V1, and I also made a color version. Wuhao basically sent me like a shit ton of his mouth noise samples. I'm gonna just play them right here. So definitely like some autistic ass shit that I would make like some really fucking dumb shit, but it's fun. Like, you can have fun with this. So I made this rack and I gave it like, 12 controls, basically 12 knobs that lets you change different things in this rack. I just begin with like a little bit of pre-gain, so you can basically dial in if your samples are kind of quiet and you feel like you want to have them like at a similar-ish volume. You can just give it some pre-gain, and then right after that there is like a saturator that basically acts like a clipper and just clips off the transients. I could have also used like the KHS clipper, which is like better, but I wanted to keep this simple. And then we have like some multiband dynamics, glue compression, and then the central piece that actually makes this work is the vocoder. A vocoder basically is a series of bandpass filters, so very narrow sort of filters for a little band, so like a range of frequencies. And the vocoder really adds this nice crisp sort of texture, especially when you do like lip rolls. I found out that was really cool, but we're gonna get to that in a second. The way I did it is I just set it to 40 and then mapped the bandwidth, the depth, and the release to knobs that you can play with. I try to keep it in a decent range, so from the vocoder depth, for example, from 80 to 130, the vocoder bandwidth from 90 to 150, and the release from like 10 milliseconds to 200 milliseconds. Then I just added a shit ton of EQing, erosion, phase of flanger, a lot of saturation, another vocoder, because why the fuck not, some more multiband compression, overdrive, OTT2, which is basically just a soft form of multiband compression I just straight up stole from Virtual. I'm not sorry at all, it just really sounds good. Then we have like some more saturation and a dynamic EQ, also from Virtual, that basically takes out the annoying frequencies, but only using the stock stuff in Ableton, so you don't really need any external plugins. Then I made like a little EQ right before a fat rack, which just basically fattens up the sound and makes it more full spectrum, that you can dial in. So we can say, okay, if there's a lot of frequencies around 1K or 3K, which does happen because it's the human voice, you can take that out and dial it in a bit using these knobs right here. You see it kind of changes the band depth. I also try to keep it in a reasonable range, but if you want, you can just click on this map option right here and you can just change it. Yeah, and the fat rack, like I said, at the very end. So the problem with doing a bunch of processing like this is that eventually we're gonna have no sub anymore, right? Or it's gonna be like completely destroyed since we put like a shit ton of effects on it. So to mitigate that, I used a patch from Nasco that is called nsub. And what this does is it reacts to an incoming audio signal and puts sub underneath it, and you can like dial in the exact settings that you need for it, but I try to keep it relatively simple. It just creates like a subnode for any incoming audio signal, which is really neat. If I'm not allowed to use this, then sorry, I can't really give this out for free, but you could also just add sub manually, like right underneath it, right? And then just process it together in a group. That could also work just fine. So here's what it sounds like with the Nomo BASSIFIER V1 on. So let's go through the controls of this thing. First of all, I added a little bit of stereo because oftentimes when we record something using our voice, it's gonna be kind of mono and like very boring. So to mitigate that, I added a little bit of stereo. I think this is also from VR. This is like the double stereo edition, but really this is not that special. It's just you use a bunch of flangers and phasers and then phase cancel them and have like a dry chain run in parallel, so that only the cancelled information is actually being added, like the side information of that to be exact. It sounds very good and really works well if you just want to quickly add stereo to a sound. So yeah, this is a really fun rack, and just for shits and giggles, like let's just record some like nonsense, because why not, since we're already like on it. Fuck it, dude. Alright. Wop 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 wop. Alright, just some nonsense, just some stupid ass shit. So in this case, it's kind of quiet, so we can give it a little bit of pre-gain. I'll just give it like, yeah, 15 decibels sounds fine. I think the standard is set to 15 decibels because my mic is just very quiet. Yeah, let's play this shit. As you can hear, just making very bass heavy sort of sounds can be very nice. But I also found out that like lip rolling is very efficient when you want to create some growly sort of texture. So let's just do that. So yeah, this is a pretty neat little thing, and I also made another version. I made one that basically just turns this into color bass, because why not? I'm a color bass guy and I really like color bass. Oh, now it's loading. As you can tell, the rack is quite CPU heavy, so it's better to do this in an empty project so that you don't accidentally crash your project or like overwhelm your CPU, you know? So the color based version works a bit different. I tried to use just 3 things. I couldn't really use like a free resonance suppression, but there is like a new plugin that's called Anina, which can basically do the same as this Pro Q4 right here. It's like a spectral resonance suppressor. It's really cool. Definitely check it out by Ewan Bristow. It's like a really sick plugin. It just tames the very like annoying resonances that happen when you record something or you play like a specific vocal or I don't know, any sound really. And for the color based plugin, I'm using Callan's Chimera, which is also a free plugin. Let's just set this up real quick. For this to work, we need to add a MIDI track and basically put down some chords for the duration of our little example here. I'm just gonna make it easy and say F minor pentatonic. Alright, so big fat chord, and now we can just load a synth. I'm just gonna use Serum 2 to be honest, quickly make a patch. Let's just make some detuned source, a little bit of detune, full blend, maybe another layer an octave up, maybe more detuned and quieter in the background. Oh, like a little filter maybe. Put some multiband compression on this, put some OTT on 2 on this. So now we got big fat boba chord. Now we can just turn this off and go to our plug data chain right here. And as a sidechain input, we can just select our little track that we just made, and it should turn it into some very nice color bass. Yeah. I mean, my CPU is fucking dying, but it sounds really cool. So yeah, that's basically the rack. I'm gonna give this away for free. In case when you load the rack, it may be that the end sub is missing, like the plug data patch is missing. In case this does happen, let me just walk you through what you need to do. So first of all, basically just download the plug data patch so that it will work. Then load this rack, and this will probably just show a bunch of like question marks. And if that does happen, just remove the plug data, reload it. So plug data FX. Then we can load it again. And now the macro assignment is gone, which is kind of sucks, you know. But we can change this by clicking on this little triangle here, pressing configure, and then just doing this. Like, so since this works in a rack, like this is a rack in a rack, we first need to map it to the rack in the rack, and then we can map it to the outer rack. That's just how Ableton macro programming works. So press map here, and then click on the subnode, then put it to macro 2, and the volume to right here. Oh, that was already mapped. Okay, we don't need to map that again. That's nice. So now we have full control over it again, and it should work just fine. Yeah. Nice. So yeah, that's the rack. I hope you guys are gonna have a lot of fun with it. Shout out to Wuhao, and thanks for bringing it to my attention by using some beatboxing, and check out his shit. It's really cool. Like, his beatboxing skills are quite nice. So yeah, I do wish you a great rest of the day, and peace out.